After 25 years in the green industry and a PhD in plant sciences, I can tell you one thing that might surprise you. Some of the most beautiful landscapes that I've ever installed had almost no sun at all. Most homeowners look at a shady yard and see a problem. I look at it and see vast opportunities for beautiful plants because there's a group of shade-loving perennials that I keep coming back to job after job, client after client for over 2 decades now. These aren't plants that they push at the garden center. These are plants that actually perform in the shade. And today, I'm giving you that list. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. I put out videos once a week based on 25 years of real-world industry experience. Let's get into it. The first plant on the list might be the most impressive plant that I'm showing you today, and I'm leading with it because most homeowners have no idea what it can do. This is the Lenten rose, or Helleborus exhybridus. Here's where things get interesting. This plant blooms in late winter to early spring. I'm talking January, March, February, depending on your zone. When your yard looks like everything is dead and there's not a single bloom anywhere else in the landscape, the Lenten rose is flowering. I've had clients call me specifically because of this plant. They'll say, "Tom, what is that? Everything else looks terrible and this thing looks gorgeous." That's the kind of performance you simply cannot manufacture with anything else. It's evergreen in most of its growing area, USDA zones 4 through 9. It handles deep shade and is also deer resistant. And here's what I really love about the Lenten rose. Once it's established, it's essentially a take care of itself plant. I want to be honest with you about the first year. You may not see it perform much in the first year, but from year 2 onward, it can slowly spread and rewards you with one of those nodding blooms every single late winter without fail. Plant it in groups of 3 or 5 for visual impact. Give it amended soil with good organic matter and do not deadhead it. In deep shade, the Lenten rose earns its keep when absolutely no other plant will. Plant number 2 is just now beginning to wake up for me here in zone 8A in the month of May. But this is a showstopper in any shade landscape. This is the elephant ears. Now I know what some of you are thinking, "Tom, isn't that a tropical plant that is an annual?" And I understand that thought process completely, but here's where things get interesting. In zones 8 through 11, elephant ears behaves as a true perennial. Even in cooler zones, there's cold hardy varieties that push further north than most people realize. What I love about elephant ears in shade design is the scale and drama it provides. Those leaves up to 3 feet long on some varieties create an immediate, bold, tropical statement that tells anyone looking at the landscape this was designed with intention. There are no other perennials that deliver that kind of architectural presence in shade. Let me be precise here because this one matters. Elephant ears prefer a moist environment. Provide them with a rich organic soil and plenty of room for them to spread out. I've seen clients underestimate the spread and end up with a plant that's taken over an entire corner bed, which honestly is not the worst problem to have. In colder zones, treat them as annuals or dig them up as corms before the first frost and store them the same way you would a dahlia. But in the right climate, this is a plant that I always use just for the sheer wow factor in any shade garden. Plant number 3 on the list is a plant I've been putting in landscapes for over 2 decades, and the variety that is available now compared to back then is astonishing. Here's what I really love about Heuchera. It is a foliage plant that provides genuine color in the shade when almost nothing else will. And I mean real color, not just variations of green. You can get a Heuchera in deep burgundy. Palace purple is a classic. It holds that dark color throughout the growing season. Caramel gives you a warm amber orange tone that is stunning against a dark background. Lime Ricky is a chartreuse that pops in dark corners. And there are new varieties like Berry Smoothie and Obsidian that give us near black foliage that creates dramatic contrast with any green plant around it. I use Heuchera as a color layering tool. If you have a shade bed that is all green, hostas, ferns, whatever you have, dropping 3 to 5 Heuchera in a deep burgundy or bright chartreuse changes the entire visual dynamic of that planting. It creates depth. It creates contrast, and it makes the whole bed look more designed. Most varieties are evergreen to semi-evergreen in warmer climates. That means you get 3, sometimes even 4 growing seasons of color in a shaded area. Heucheras do produce small bell-shaped flowers. That's where the name coral bell comes from. But the flowers are secondary. This is a foliage plant and it performs. part shade to full shade, low maintenance once established. Heucheras is one of the most versatile plants that I use in any shade landscape. If you find this video helpful, go ahead and hit the like button below. It truly helps other people find this content that might need it. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. I put out a video once a week based on 25 years of real-world industry experience. Now let's get back into it. Plant number 5 is what I call my sleeper pick. It doesn't show up on most lists, and not every garden center carries it, but every single time I put this in a shade landscape, it is a showstopper. The arching stems on this plant are unlike anything else in the shade garden. They emerge in spring and arch gracefully, 18 to 24 inches of elegant horizontal form. The leaves are deep green with crisp white margins, and in spring it produces a small white bell-shaped flower that dangles beneath the stems. It is refined, it is elegant, and it works in conditions that challenge most everything else. What I really love about Solomon's Seal is what it does as a companion plant. It fills the mid-story of shade plantings like you see here. Oak leaf hydrangea behind us, Solomon's Seal in the middle, and down below we have the Lenten rose. Solomon's Seal is a bridging plant, and that white margin on the leaf picks up the light in dark areas better than almost any other foliage I know. One thing you need to know about Solomon's Seal in very hot climates, it can go dormant in the summer. Once the high heat arrives, it can potentially die back. Part shade to full shade, and in my opinion, one of the most underutilized, undervalued plants in the shade garden. But it is always a plant that I'll recommend when one is looking for elegance and movement in deep shade. And now we come to a plant that probably does not need an introduction. This is Hosta, the undisputed king of the shade garden. I've been planting hostas for 25 years and still put them in virtually every shade landscape I design. Not because it's the easy choice, but because it's the right choice. Here's where I want to push back on a common thought process. I have clients tell me, oh, I have hostas, they're just green. And I understand that completely, but those clients have never seen hosta varieties like Sum and Substance, a golden yellow variety that can reach 4 to 5 foot wide and becomes more vibrant as it gets more light. They have not seen blue-gray varieties like Halcyon that hold their color beautifully throughout the season. They have not seen variegated varieties like Patriot with bold white margins that make it pop in the darkest of corners. They haven't seen June, which transitions from a golden yellow in the center to a blue-green at the margins, and honestly, it looks like no other plant in the shade garden. Size range runs from miniature varieties like blue mouse ears, we're talking 4 inches tall, all the way to giant varieties that can reach 4 feet tall like Empress Wu. That means hostas can serve as a ground cover, as a mid-layer specimen, or a bold structural anchor. In 25 years, I've never designed a shade garden where I could not find a role for hosta. 2 things to know. Hostas are a deer's favorite food. Some people refer to these as deer salad. If you have deer pressure in your area, substitute hostas for coral bells. Also, slugs love hostas as well. If you have a slug issue in your landscape, there are ways to control slugs. I did a video on controlling slugs a few years back. I'll try to leave the link here. USDA zones 3 through 9, part shade to full shade, and one of the most consistent perennials I have ever used. Plant number 7 is a fern that I'll always recommend first when a client asks which fern to plant. This is autumn fern. Here's what makes autumn fern special. The new fronds emerge in a coppery bronze color. When they first come up in spring, they almost look like they're on fire. This warm reddish bronze that slowly transitions to a rich, glossy, deep green as the fronds mature. You get 2 distinct color phases on a single plant. That is unusual and it's beautiful, especially in the shade. It is semi-evergreen to evergreen in zone 6 and warmer. In colder zones, it dies back and reemerges in the spring. Either way, the performance is exceptional. It reaches 18 to 24 inches tall, perfect for mid-layer of shade composition. I use it as a direct companion to hostas constantly. The upright arching texture of the fern against the bold, flat leaves of hosta is one of the best combinations in shade gardening. And here's something that I appreciate about autumn ferns compared to other ferns. Once established, autumn fern is drought tolerant. This gives flexibility as to where it can be used in the landscape. USDA zones 5 through 9, and it's the first fern that I'll always recommend. Next on the list is Astilbe, And if you have a shady, moist corner in the back of your yard and you have no idea what to do with it, this is your answer. Astilbe produces feathery plume-like flowers in shades of pink, red, white, and purple, and it blooms from the late spring all the way into midsummer, depending on the variety. Here's what I really love about Astilbe. It gives you vertical interest in the shade bed, which is something most plants simply cannot do. Most shade plants hug the ground, Astilbe reaches up. The foliage is also attractive all season long, deeply cut, fern-like, and lush, even after flowers have faded. I've used this plant in hundreds of residential landscapes over my 25 years, and I keep coming back to it year after year. One thing you need to know about Astilbes is that it does not like dry soils. If you plant this in dry soils and you walk away, you're going to have issues. Give Astilbe consistent moisture and it will reward you every single year. USDA zones 4 through 9, part shade to full shade. Next is Bergenia cordifolia, and in my opinion, this is one of the most underutilized landscape plants in all of residential landscaping. You almost never see it in residential gardens here, and in my opinion, that is a big mistake. Bergenia produces large, glossy, rounded leaves. We're talking bold, structural foliage that provides real texture contrast in a shade bed. And in early spring, before almost anything else is blooming, it sends up a cluster of pink or magenta flowers. Here's what I really love about Bergenia. It is evergreen in most climates, and those large leaves actually take on a beautiful burgundy to bronze tone in the fall and winter. So you're getting 4-season interest from a plant that most people have never heard of. I've used this in landscapes where we've needed a bold textural statement underneath large trees, and it never disappoints. USDA zones 3 through 8, and it tolerates shade as well as some drought conditions once established, which is rare for a shade plant. Next on the list is Christmas fern, and this is one of my go-to plants anytime I'm looking for a native plant in the shade garden. And here's why I keep coming back to it. It's evergreen. In the middle of winter, when everything else is dormant, Christmas fern is still green. That is enormously valuable in a residential landscape, especially in winter months when clients are looking out the window and seeing bare ground everywhere else. I have planted this in dry shade under mature oaks, which is one of the most difficult planting situations there is. And it doesn't just survive, it performs. It's a native from Maine to Florida, hardy to zones 3 through 9, and requires essentially no maintenance once it's established. Here's a pro tip for you. Plant Christmas ferns in groups of 3 to 5 on shady slopes. You'll have an elegant, evergreen, low-maintenance solution to erosion. I've used Christmas ferns dozens of times in residential landscapes, and it never fails me. The last plant on our list is Brunnera macrophylla, and if you love the flower look of forget-me-nots, you're going to love this plant. Brunnera produces the same delicate sky blue flowers each early spring, but here's what makes it exceptional, its foliage. Large, heart-shaped leaves that in varieties like Jack Frost are almost entirely silver with just a fine green vein running through them. It is one of the most visually striking foliage plants available for shade. And here's what I really love about Brunnera. It's doing the heavy lifting for you even when it's not flowering. These variegated leaves here, they come out in spring and they will stay out until late fall. It's deer resistant and can potentially self-seed itself without becoming invasive. USDA zones 3 through 8, and this is a plant that simply does not get the credit that it deserves. There you have it, my list of perennial plants for shade, often a difficult spot in the yard, especially if you're looking for color. If you have a favorite perennial for shade that we did not go over, leave that down in the comments below. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.